Bradt School.
Happy holidays! Star winners this week. Kindergarten friends are Austin from Mrs. Wineline, Jackson from Mrs. Newman's, Austin from Mrs. Pace, Charlotte from Mrs. Griesmer, Emma from Mrs. Barusso's, Payson from Mrs. Bowman's, Kat from Mrs. Antonini, and Cheyenne from Mrs. Zajetski. Nice job, kindergartners!
Hey, first grade star winners are Sawaya from Miss Palmer's class, John from Mrs. Fleshy's class, Jacob from Mrs. Masick's class, Elena from Mrs. Hurst's class, Zoe from Mrs. Filarecki's class, Madeline from Miss Ferraro's class, Dalton from Mrs. Dennis's class, Angelina from Mrs. Yates's class, and Mark from Mrs. Verano's class. Way to go!
Second grade Star Power winners are Joseph from Mrs. Paleshi's class, Ella from Mrs. Mosier's class, Mark from Mrs. McGuire's class, Thomas from Mrs. McDuffie's class, Samir from Mrs. McCabe's class, Faith from Mrs. Halverson's class, William from Mrs. Hackett's class, and John Jalen at Recycling, Miles from Mrs. D'Agostino's class, and Maya from Mrs. Deo's class. Nice job, second graders.
And your class winners are kindergarten, Mrs. Antonini's class, first grade, Mrs. Hurst's class, and second grade, Mrs. Halverson class. Way to go!
Great job. We'd like to introduce our new school nurse, Mrs.
Mrs.
Bowman.
Bowman. Thank you for watching.
See you next year.